Hey friends, welcome to the Marriage Inside Out podcast, where we teach couples how to become mission focused, learning to work together as a team to build a solid foundation for their household. I'm Khalil, and this is my wife. Yes, you all may know her as AJ, but I call her Adrian. Let's make some noise for my wife.
Awesome. No, guys, it's been a while.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
This is season 2. Yes. Here we are.
Let's go.
Yes, it's been a while. It truly has indeed. And we are excited.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, I feel like, we needed a break.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. Every now and then, yeah, you need a break every now and then in life.
It's important to take that time to just reset, take care of some of the things at the house, make sure your home is in order. We got to practice what we preach, so we just had to take that time to reset, refocus, but ready to get back at it.
Right, exactly. And I think, these past few months for us have been, I would say, just very edifying. And you were talking about that reset. And I would say we've been able to have some enjoyable moments over the past few months. We did celebrate our 5-year anniversary.
Yes.
So cheers for that.
Yes.
5 years
exciting.
in, 5 years strong.
Yeah, I did a little trip. We had the opportunity to just safely make it up to Colorado and explored Boulder and Denver, and it was just such an amazing experience. And especially after being quarantined, to be able to just take a small trip. We were super diligent, washed our hands, social distance, all that good stuff.
Right.
But yeah, definitely needed.
Exactly. Yeah, and we actually put out a little video showing some highlights from that trip. But yeah, it was really good. Definitely needed. And also, you had a birthday.
Yes,
someone
I did.
had a birthday.
I did.
It was this woman right here.
Yes, I love fall, love the transition. End of September is my birthday. I'm the big 3-3 right now. I don't mind sharing my age because I feel like with age comes wisdom, so it's all good.
Or as they say now, it's more like 30 plus 3 years or something like that.
30 plus 3 years.
Yeah, 30 plus 3 years.
Right. Anyways.
Yeah.
Growing. I'm growing.
Yes. No, but I think there's so much that we definitely want to share and talk about. Yeah. But one of the things that we normally do whenever we have a major milestone, whether it's a birthday or an anniversary, is we like to have this moment of reflection where, usually we'll do this like over a dinner or something, but you will just take a moment and just talk about life. We just have a life talk. We talk about how we feel like we've grown over the past year or over the past several months. Yeah. And, maybe things that we've learned about ourselves personally or about each other, and, how we can just continue to grow moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, these are like my favorite types of conversations. So what we're gonna be sharing right now is just some reflections, some thoughts of our experience, and really, some main things that we feel have been impactful for us these past 5 years.
Right. As it pertains to marriage. Yeah. So this is our just inviting you all into this moment so that, again, we just want to be transparent in that, and what we can do is just kind of go back and forth and talk about just, again, a few things that we each have learned 5 years into marriage. So let's get into it. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go.
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah,
all right,
kick it
I'll
off,
kick us off. Okay. So one of the things, and again, this could be either something that we learn about ourselves, about each other, or about marriage in general. But one of the things that I want to highlight is the necessity of grace.
Yeah.
I would say just how important grace is in terms of, walking with each other through marriage. Because, there are things that I even think about that, you've gone through this year.
Yeah.
And this year, I know it's been challenging for you, right?
Stretching you, yeah.
Exactly. But knowing that, that's exactly why we are here in this union, is so that you don't feel like you have to walk through these different things, these challenges by yourself. And I'm sure you'll probably share them at some point later on in another episode or whatnot. But yeah, just how important it is that we continue to walk with each other through these, seasons of growth. Yeah. Understanding that we are both constantly growing, should be growing, works in progress.
Yeah.
And, we both still have weaknesses. We both still have things that we might be dealing with. It could be recent things. It could be things stemming far back from our pasts. Right. And we even had some conversations recently about, things from our past prior to getting married that we didn't really talk much about.
Right. Not as in depth.
Not as in depth.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of life, right? Because sometimes as we go through things in life, we learn about, oh, wow, I'm based on how I'm dealing with a certain situation, it points back to something that probably didn't get dealt with in my past.
Yeah.
And I think we've each had some conversations and just having to have some times of confessing to one another, right. Whether it was things that we went through, again, in our individual lives, or even things that we did prior to getting married that, we didn't fully flesh out and fully kind of learn from, reconcile with, and be able to move forward in a healthy way.
Yeah, no, and that's really good. It actually is very similar when you talk about grace, right, to one thing that I was going to bring up as well. So I would love to add to that and kind of share as well. And that's within that grace, just not getting so caught up in the past that you're very hardened to how you communicate in the present.
Right.
So for me, I'm naturally inclined to be very directorial, I guess is how I would say that gracefully. I am very passionate about making sure things are done right, and my brain moves, a million miles a minute, if you will, to noticed, okay, dishes got to be done and this has to be done here and all these things. And I noticed during quarantine, especially that the way in which I was addressing Khalil at times was very much like controlling, as if I was his boss, as if I was trying to manage certain things. You know what I mean? And I'm not, right? And that it became an issue because my tone was not graceful, not generous, not patient. And I had to catch myself. And I just realized how easy it is for that to get out of alignment, and for me to allow my pride to compel me to no longer offer grace towards you, that you're human too, right? So I know that was a lot of perspectives in one, but it's really just not getting so caught up in what we've always done from a personality perspective, but really to continue to shift and grow and confess, right?
Exactly.
Because if I just keep sticking up for myself and I don't tell him, babe, I'm sorry, I really did not mean to say that way. And then I need to take it to the Lord too. Help me to be able to communicate gracefully. So that's definitely something that I've learned, especially in these 5 years. And it was amplified when we were together a lot, this past 9 months, you know. That's an area that I'm still growing in.
Right, exactly. And I think it's important that we do acknowledge the fact that, we are still in a global pandemic.
Right.
And it has certainly affected many people in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And it has been a time of distress for many. And I think even in some of the things that you have gone through this year, like some of that has compounded with other factors.
Yeah.
And but I think, again, we are meant to bear one another's burdens.
Right.
And I think one of the things I've hoped that you've been able to see is that you're not walking through anything, whether it's a hill or a valley, by yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of marriage, is that we can check one another and then continue to lean on one another to work through it, knowing that it's not going to be perfect off the bat, but it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be our story, and it's going to be worth it. So yeah, that's huge. That's definitely something that's resonated so far in marriage.
Yeah. So another thing for me is in marriage, understanding that you constantly have to be willing to learn.
Yes.
You constantly have to be willing to learn. Each season of life,
right,
there are different things that you're experiencing, that we're both experiencing, that affect us in a number of ways. So I think there is this constant process of having to unlearn certain things and relearn certain things, and then just learn new things overall. I'll say that again. It's like you have to unlearn some habits maybe that you've developed or that we've developed. You know, you got to unlearn some things. You know, maybe some of the things that worked in the first couple years might not work, or the same way in which we handle certain things. Or, you know, I even think of, in terms of, we've talked about just intimacy, you know, in terms of intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I'm not just talking about just what happens in the bedroom, which is what we often think about, but everything else that precedes that and that comes after that. Understanding that, hey, I mean, we've had to unlearn some things. And then also, I would say, relearn some things that maybe you used to do, but you probably let fall by the wayside.
Bring them back.
Bring them back. And I think that it takes work. And then on top of that, to just learn new things in terms of things that you just haven't learned or experienced or known before. In general, just about, you know, practical things, but also about one another, asking each other questions. I think it's just so key. You know, we did an episode in season 1 about what is the hardest year of marriage, and we went over all of these, you know, these different research studies, and that went over, you know, what a lot of statistics say about the toughest year of marriage. Is it the second year? Is it this year? A lot of them cited, though, that 5th year of marriage was one that a lot of couples tend to hit a wall in. And it's like, in some ways, I can kind of see why that is. You know, because I would say, in all honesty, I think, and I say this carefully, but I, in a sense, saw some sort of almost like tendency to plateau. Or almost like this resistance that we needed to kind of push through. Break over so that we wouldn't just plateau. I would say that just honestly, like, and it goes back to that, okay, unlearning some things, relearning some things, and learning some new things. And I think that's what a lot of couples fail to understand, is that we constantly have to be learning. We have to be willing to learn so that we can get over those humps and to cut through the thickness that can sometimes be present.
No, that's good. A question that I've been thinking about kind of within that I think we should all ask ourselves consistently, and then take a look at our past history. Like, what do you do when things get hard? Like, what is your tendency when things get hard? Are you the type of person that retreats? Are you the type of person that just keeps running through that brick wall and doesn't look for alternatives? Are you the type of person, you know, that just totally shuts down? You know, like, what does that look like? And I realized that, I mean, for me, I'm the type of person that when things get hard, I shut down in some ways. I get very introspective. How can I fix this? What can I do? And when we're talking about bearing one another's burdens and adjusting, right? I need to know that that's my tendency, so that when things are hard, right, we can work through it together, and I can share how I'm feeling instead of trying to hold it all in. And I would say that it's unique to everyone, right? We all have a past history and experience that contributes to who we are today and what we're bringing into marriage. But I would suggest that if you can just ask yourself, like, what is my tendency when things get hard? Do I just stop? Do I, you know, just become overwhelmed and everything is a trigger and I'm angry all the time? Like, what does that look like? And then how can we grow through it? And I think we've learned to grow through that.
Exactly.
We've learned what it looks like when that friction is happening and I might want to retreat. Khalil knows he's patient in that instant, and we're able to come together because I'm open. I've learned to be more open, to be have dialogue through what we're enduring. So just wanted to kind of share that with you guys as a practical way to apply what we're discussing. Like, what do we do when things get hard?
Yeah, exactly. Because being able to work through those moments is, I mean, that's foundational in a sense. You know, how is it that we address and handle conflict? How do we address and handle difficult situations? You know, one of the things that we often talk about, even on this platform, is seeing marriage in the context of teamwork, like working together as a team and as a unit and such. And we use sports examples sometimes. And when you think about the teams that are able to face some adversity in the middle of a game, they get down, you know. But the best teams are those that don't get so rattled in those situations, or they don't just lay down and quit. We actually just watched a boxing match last night. I love boxing, in case you can't tell by my shirt. Got Muhammad Ali on my shirt. But, you know, and it's the same thing in that case. You know, when a boxer is getting tagged, when they're getting hit. But even if they get knocked down, what are they going to do? Like, the best ones are the ones that can get back up and keep pressing forward, stick to the game plan, and keep fighting. Because it is a fight and it is work, and marriage takes work. But it is a good work.
It's a good work.
It's a good work.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure.
And I think even going back to that example and talking about, you know, learning, unlearning, and relearning, I know for me, kind of stemming from that intimacy point that I mentioned, I've even had to learn what it means to just, or relearn what it means to even just date you. If you feel me, like dating my wife is something that we should always be doing. But understanding that, you know, there are times when, okay, I gotta get a little bit more creative, or, you know, I gotta make sure that I'm keeping things fresh, you know, that I'm mixing things up here and there. And that term dating, when we talk about dating your wife, it's more than just going on dates. Although that's part of it. But one of the things that I've learned is that it actually goes deeper into my pursuit of you. So even though we're married, I should still be pursuing you, getting to know you. Because when you think about when you're dating, going through that dating period, right? What marks that dating period? There's intrigue. There's that interest. You know, we want to learn about one another. We ask questions about one another, you know, but sometimes in marriage, we hit these kind of walls of complacency and we stop doing that. So that's just one example I wanted to share of how I've even been encouraged and motivated. It's like, okay, let me make sure I'm, you know, I'm dating my wife now, because we should always be dating even though we're married. So, yes.
No, exactly. No, and I appreciate that work that we're both doing and growing in that area, and that comes from that open, continual communication and confession. Grace, exactly. Plenty of grace. Lots of grace. Lots of grace. But yeah, another thing that I would say for me that's really been pivotal is to stick to the basics, right? To not neglect the foundation. And that's why we talk so much about the foundation here at Marriage Inside Out, because those same things that we've done are so important for us to continue to grow. So when other things seem to be very chaotic and out of our control, like what are those 3 or 4 things that we value, that are consistent, that we can go back to? We've expressed to you guys before, and I think it's important that we're continuing to be open and honest. Like, we are at a stage of life where we are, of course, growing in contentment, not complacent, but we are in expectation of more. We're in expectation of growing our family. We're in expectation of maturing in our careers. And at times it can feel like none of those things are happening in our own timeline. and that's just reality. And you might get those blows and things that happen. But for us, that foundation, I just honestly can't imagine, you know, how we would be working through some of the things we've been experiencing without going back to our values. You know, like what do we prioritize? You know, in the mornings, we start diligently with prayer together. We make sure that we're being good stewards of our health, you know, through physical fitness and, you know, nutrition. Those types of things are the foundation. And if you are working through that with your spouse, amazing. Like, we're right there with you. We're running it. And if those are areas that you desire to improve, that's okay too, you know? But the goal is to have that desire, that earnest, you know, desire to build, you know, in those areas, knowing that the other things will come about in, if it's the Lord's will, of course, in that timing. So
right, exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's so good. Going back to the foundation and those pillars. That's key. And I feel like, we could go on and on.
Yeah, we'll do that another episode.
On and on. But yes, no, this is just so good. And I mean, I think it's so encouraging whenever we have these kinds of conversations, and we would encourage all of you out there watching and listening to make sure you have these same kinds of conversations, and however fits your rhythm the most, but just to have them because it's important. Yeah. All right, friends. So as we wrap up, our question of the day for you is, what is one thing that you have learned thus far in your marriage? It could be something about yourself personally, or something about you and your spouse both. Something that maybe you've gone through that has shaped you within these past several months. Whatever that is, we would love to know in the comments below.
And no matter what platform you're joining us, if you're here on YouTube or if you're over on any of the podcast platforms, we want to first of all thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like, share, subscribe button, and we would love to stay connected with you. You can head over also to the Marriage Inside Out website, where we have some free resources and tools for you and your marriage to just continue to grow so that you can thrive.
Yeah, some good trainings, as well as a goal-setting guidebook.
Right.
That's definitely, I would say, go check it out for sure.
For sure.
But yes, well, thank you all again so much for tuning in. And until next time, remember, your marriage has a mission, and what the Lord has brought together, let nothing and no one separate. Love God and love one another. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.